Snoot City here? It is I, Snoot City, again. Back with you, my friends. Snoot City here? Yeah, we've been here in the plane. It's about 8:15, so we're gonna go ahead and get boarding. Go ahead and send the passengers on out. We'll go ahead and get everyone unloaded up. Hopefully all your business is just about finished. Go ahead and let's get the avionics over here going. Our transponder should still be set to on. And indeed it is. Fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and light things up with some landing lights. And it's actually not very cold at all. It is maintaining. Well, not quite maintaining. It's about 35 degrees out. So it's not freezing yet. We will not need any pitot heat. Cabin heat could be nice. Let's just get the cabin heat going. We don't need the defrost, of course. So, let's get the engine up and running. Fuel selector is going to be the right tank for the return flight home. Turn the fuel pump on. Give it some rich mixture. Give it a little bit of throttle, right? We'll give her full props. Should be good enough to hit the magnetos. Let's go. Turn that fuel pump off. We don't want to pump all the fuel. Let's bring those RPMs up to about 2,000. We're going to do the magneto check real quick. Here we sit, 2,000. Oh my goodness. Terrifying reality. The parking brake was not pulled. That's an emergency right there, and what is the damage done? Well, fortunately, I am okay, but this plane is not. We will not be having a Piper ride. We're gonna have to hitch a flight from Cedar Rapids while they fix our Piper. What do we have available? That's a good excuse to jump over to the Cessna 172, I suppose. Terrifying, man. That's why you double check and triple check. You can't take off when you're just idling, I suppose, if you have the parking brake pulled. Let's right our wrongs. We're gonna be borrowing a Cessna 172 Skyhawk from the Eastern Iowa Airport. Yeah, we were at the gate. We're gonna be taking off from the ramp. Oh, and there's actually a flight here. FDX 545. Let's learn about him. It's a FedEx cargo flight. My goodness. Let's spawn in next to him, huh? Let's go. So, a complete change of plans. Definitely throwing off our 8:30 planned flight. Let's see how fast we can get the Cessna 172 Skyhawk up and going. Pop off everything on the outside. Get the chocks. Check the wheels. They're looking good. Hey, the nose looks great. I would suspect it to be a good plane, right? They aren't going to give us a bad one. They might. I'm sure they're actually very upset at us. But it's okay. We have insurance. We don't have any injuries, although the plane was destroyed. Absolutely total. Let's turn off the cheat markers. Look at the flaps and move the ailerons. I, of course, have a bad habit of trying to move the flaps. The same. Let's give them a wiggle. The 172, you just examine the rudder. With that, we should be good to get on in. Let's get in. There she is, our co-pilot. Of course they have us with a co-pilot. Set the fuel selector to both. Fuel valve is open. So let's go ahead and get the avionics turned on. Looks quite nice in here. We don't, of course, we don't have a flight plan, but we can make use. Give it full mixture, much like this is a 152. Give it a little throttle. Let's take a look at our panel. We actually need lights, strobe lights, nav lights, taxi lights, landing lights, beacon lights, cabin power. We don't need that. Yeah, let's turn the brightness up. Let the panels up. We don't need any pedestal lighting, that's for sure. That's for true. I don't think we have to worry about much of this in Cessna 172 at the moment. Just to be sure, parking brake is on. We won't make that mistake again, will we? Let's boot this bad boy up. Really bogging down on us there. We might need to prime it. Reset the alerts. What did we do wrong? Well, let's give it cabin power. Feed the throttle in full. Of course, it will tell us in the checklist. We did the pre-flight. Let's do the in-flight, but normal takeoff. Before starting engine, the brakes work. The electrical equipment was off. It is now on. Oh, some of the hoodlum is being loud. Switches are on. How are we going to start it with a battery? Slightly. Stand by. Switches are indeed on. The beacon is on. Auxiliary mixture. You know what? There really ain't no excuse. Let's find the primer. Where is that there primer? Do we got the cap and air or anything going? Goodness gracious, we're not going to make the flight. It's in 5 minutes. We have to do our best, though. Let's focus on in here and see what we're looking at. So, it says we're having an oil pressure issue. Let's go ahead and give it a little more throttle and see what happens if we try to magneto it on up. Is the mixture full? Yes, it is. Okay, I understand. We're gonna have to do some fuel pump magic. Fuel pump on. Mixture full forward. Mixture full aft. Fuel pump off. Hopefully that did it, huh? Let's see what happens now. Oh my goodness, how embarrassing. Let's truly do the inspection, shall we? You can't start when the engine cover's on. See? Hopefully they're not watching, because this is why I don't have a pilot's license. That thing would have gotten sucked in and absolutely shredded, man. Let's see if we can make takeoff in 2 minutes. Been absolutely flooding the engine. Rustled the life. Absolutely. Bit of PTSD. Just gonna check that their brake. Parking brake is on, so we're looking good. Back to winging it. Who needs an inspection? We don't. Normal takeoff. Flaps. Flaps will be at 10 degrees. Flaps may be at 33%, but I believe that is about 10 degrees. Climb between 70 and 80, I'll remember that. Set the flaps up. Cruise, there's nothing in the cruise. We're not going to learn anything about the cruise. No more than 75%, so we want to keep it between 2100 and 2700 RPMs. Gotcha there. What about the descent? What should I know? We'll have to set the altimeter. Full flaps. Alright, so we'll use full flaps on landing. Everything seems pretty doable. Let's get the ATIS now. What's the weather looking like? How do we make it home without dying?
Cedar Rapids Airport information, Mike. 02000. Wind 151 at 6. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 2. Dew point -2. Altimeter 299er5. ILS runway 9er in use. Landing and departing runway 13. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have, Mike. Cedar Rapids Airport information, Mike. 02000. Wind 151 at 6. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 2. Dew point -2. Altimeter 299er5. ILS runway 9er in use. Landing and departing runway 13. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have, Mike. Cedar Rapids Airport information, Mike. 02000. Wind 151 at 6. Visibility.
Alright, that's
10.
enough of that, Mr.
Sky
ATIS.
condition clear.
We'll actually go ahead and tune to ground services. It's looking likely that we are going to need a push. Let's have them send out one of their little robots. Passengers, request the passengers
Cedar Rapids
start
ground.
boarding.
Snoop Kilo Hotel 9er Tree 9er. Could you please get the passengers on board?
Could you please get the passengers on board?
Hotel 9er Tree 9er. A ramp is on its way.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Hey, sorry about that terrifying experience in the Piper. Exciting new aircraft already thrown to the wayside. I wonder, that must mean we're going to be making a switch over to the Cessna 152 upon the return of this here 172. But what's important is we got to make it home for the night. Let's see, where are the passengers? Here they come. They're getting sent out on a tram. On a train, no less. Load them up, load them up. Unhappy Snoot Airlines customers. Alright, I figure we're about loaded. We're fueled, we're good to go. Request passengers boarding stop.
Cedar Rapids ground. Snoop Kilo Hotel 9er Tree 9er. I am done with the boarding.
There they go. No more tram. Back to clearance. Alright, we got everyone loaded up. Welcome to the new flight, the Cessna 172 Skyhawk. Oh, you can see it. That's a real-life simulation of a real-life flight. That's a FedEx Airlines that is in real time at the Eastern Iowa airport. They are doing their loading of some cargo. It looks like it's a mail plane. I studied biology, so I can tell. Taxi to parking. Request taxi. We're going to be requesting a southern departure, I'm sure.
Cedar Rapids ground. Snoop Kilo Hotel 9er Tree 9er. Request taxi for south departure with Mike.
Snoop Kilo Hotel 9er Tree 9er. Taxi to and hold short of runway 1 tree via taxiway Alpha For Alpha Cross runway, 1 Tree Alpha Echo Echo 1. Contact tower on 118.7. When ready.
When ready. Taxi. Yeah, as I say, we should acknowledge them. Don't leave them waiting.
Taxi to and hold short runway 1 Tree using taxiway Alpha 4 Alpha Cross runway 1 Tree Alpha Echo Echo 1. Snoop Kilo Hotel 9er Tree 9er.
It's a big one. Let's see if we can break it down. First off, we need to find runway 1 Tree. That's this one, the one in the direction we're facing. How does she want us? There's two ways we could do it. We could take a right and go through here, hop on and get on in. Then we could taxi here. Well, let's take a look at the instructions and see what she has to say. Taxi to and hold short runway 13 using taxiway A4. Cross runway. So we are gonna cross runway 1 Tree. So yeah, simple. This probably is taxiway Alpha 4 A. Cross runway 1 Tree Alpha. Hopefully this is Echo 1. Then we'll pull up to the hold short. Contact tower when ready. So we have the ATIS, we have our runway. We need to contact the tower when we're at the hold short, so we're already clear to go and taxi. We ought to start taxiing. Now let's do it without wasting too much more time. We're about 10 minutes late currently. Let's make up for our previous mistake and have a glorious flight. Of course, I have to get a peppermint to focus my mind. Alright, hey, I'm like Popeye with his spinach. Everything good to go. We're good to go. Focus back on the plane. Gesundheit. Here we go. Let's remove that parking brake. See where it takes us. It's already taken us in crazy directions. I panicked. I cut the mixture. Everything is fine. Let's boot this bad boy back up. You need to slow the fuck down. Alright, hey. Now we have resumed some semblance of normality. We're actually using the Garmin, not for autopilot or anything, but so we're gonna do our best to stay on the yellow line. There it is, Alpha 4.
Snoot Kilo Hotel, 9er Tree 9er. Hold position, caution other traffic. Snoot Kilo Hotel, 9er Tree 9er. Continue taxi.
Roger. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner.
Right, I see the other traffic. What's he doing over there? Hey Van, what are you doing on the runway, pal? Taxi 2 and hold short of runway 13 via taxiway Alpha 4. That's this one. Alpha 4 Alpha, cross runway 13 Alpha E1, Echo 1. Let's see what we can do. Well, they said continue our taxi, so let's give it a little power. We don't want to go too crazy here. It's looking like we might have to scooch around this fella. They also said there's other traffic out here. I'm not exactly sure as to who they're speaking of. Nice, looks like our buddy in the van skedaddled on out of here. Okay, we got the taxi lights on, the beacon lights, the landing lights. Let's keep them all on. Turn off the landing lights. We'll keep the taxis on. Let's give it a little bit more juice. We're already running late. We do need to make up a little bit of time. About 15 minutes before, after planned takeoff. We planned to take off at 8:30. It's now 8:42 p.m. But everybody's safe. Again, in the Cessna 172, which means our planned altitude tonight is going to be give or take about 2,000 feet. Our speed is going to be, well, it's going to be just about as fast as we can manage to go. We're going to be going at a whopping 80 to 90 knots. So we should have clearance to cross this runway. Oh yeah, we're not even at the runway yet. We need to reel back though, even though we are in a hurry. Let's slow it on down. We're going to cross the runway and then we're going to take the left, the immediate next left. No one to our left. No one to our right. Looks like there might be someone out there, perhaps in a helicopter. Past the hold short. Let's see what's up on the map. Here we go. This is the runway we're going to be taking off on. Let's ride the brake just a little. Probably shouldn't be Tokyo drifting around curves like this, but you know what? We're looking pretty good. And look at that, it's one of those beautiful blue runways. Let's go ahead and switch from the taxi lights over to the landing lights. So we got approved to go to the hold short. They have not given us approval for the runway, which, important lesson, we landed without being approved for landing. If we had a pilot's license, it's just one more reason for them to take it from us. So let's get approval. We're gonna go ahead and taxi on down just to the end of this here runway. Once we get to the end, we're going to go ahead and stop, slow our roll. Get back on the line. Get back on the line. It's quite nice. We can see the pad here without having to bring it up. So we can see the left turn is coming up soon. Here we go. Let's start cutting the throttle a little bit as we start to approach the hold short point. Let's cut the throttle a lot, actually, because it's right here, right in front of us. Time to contact the tower. Hello, Cedar Rapids Tower 118.7. We're going to be requesting takeoff clearance. This is a VFR flight.
Cedar Rapids Tower, Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree, Niner ready at runway 13, departure to the south.
Snoot Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner, altimeter 2995 departure to the south approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 13.
Hey, let's go. Roger that. Southern takeoff, runway 13.
Cleared for takeoff runway 13, Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner.
Start by removing the parking brake and applying some throttle. Hey Will 793, what is VFR flight? VFR is visual flight rules, which basically means you're going to be looking instead of your instruments. Of course, you're going to be using your instruments, but your flight is going to be guided by largely your eyes. You don't fly, there's a lot of specifics to it, but you don't fly in the clouds. You have to fly a certain height above the ground. Yeah, there's also IFR flight, which is involves reading your instruments. That's for if you do go into the clouds or if the weather gets bad. We're not certified for IFR flight. Barely certified for VFR flight, but that is what we're preparing. So let's line up here, ride the brakes. Here we go. Let's line these rudders up. We don't want to get blown off course. Embarrassing. I have it quick mapped, but we accidentally cut the mixture. We can fix that. Just boot the engines back up. Get rid of that warning. No problem. Rudders hard to see in the dark. Let's go ahead and adjust them so that they're about even. That looks about good, right? Yeah. Alright. 8:48. Only about 20 minutes late. Let's get our takeoff out of the way. Here we go. Snoot Airlines thanks you for choosing Snoot Airlines. Snoot Airlines is going to carefully reel upon the throttle until we reach a speed of about 50 or 60 knots. Full throttle. This is going to be a comfortable takeoff, I feel. 65 knots means we can go ahead and pull the nose. So we have rotation. Let's go ahead and tip the nose up at a tighter degree and achieve positive right. So already we're starting to get into the clouds. We can see this misty, muggy, overcast. That's not good at all. We're only at about 1,200 feet. We're starting to go up into some overcast skies.
Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner. Continue for south departure.
Roger that. Let's go ahead and adjust our heading so we are on a southern departure. Knowledge that we heard
Cedar
something.
Rapids Tower, Snoot Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner. Continue for south departure.
Talk to him. Thanks, Cedar Rapids. You know we appreciate you. You know we appreciate you. So we're gonna lift our flaps, if we have any. We're gonna start cutting our throttle. Like I said, we need to not be crazy with the throttle. Where's our RPMs on this bad boy? Here they are. We had RPM recommendations. Let's trim our craft up and take a look at them. $21,000 to $2,700, so we're actually a little bit below recommended. Means we'll go ahead and give it a little more RPMs. Let's sit on the low end, about 2,100 RPMs. But we don't want to go above, much above 2,200 feet of an altitude. So we'll adjust our trim level off. Let's set our heading. Yeah, desperately off course. Let's give it about a 10-degree turn here.
Snoot Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner, leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Roger that. Frequency change.
Cedar Rapids Tower, Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner, frequency change. Approach. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner is type Cessna Skyhawk, 5 miles southeast of Cedar Rapids, 2200. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
So we're gaining altitude.
Snoot Kilo Hotel, Niner Tree Niner. Approach. Squawk 7675.
6765. 765.
Squawk 7675. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner.
Snoot Kilo Hotel, Niner Tree Niner. Radar contact 6 miles southeast of Cedar Rapids.
Nice. Alright, so we're good to
Cleared
go.
through the Charlie airspace.
Even though we're not close to on track, we're good to get out of this Class C airspace back into the majority of Iowa. Let's go ahead and ring up. Oh, we should definitely let them know that we heard what they said.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner.
We're starting to gain altitude. That means we need to trim down just a little bit.
Snoot Kilo Hotel, Niner Tree Niner. You're leaving my airspace. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner.
Drop that trim, drop the nose, push up on the yoke a little bit. We're not trying to gain too much altitude. We need to just sit here at about 2,200. Here we go. Let's go ahead and contact up. Iowa City Municipal, that's who we're looking for. We'll check the ATIS.
Kilo India Oscar Whiskey Automated Weather Observation. 0200 Zulu. Wind come. Visibility 10. Sky condition.
Altimeter
Clouds at
299, we need to change that.
Clouds at 4,700. Temperature 3 C. Dew point -1 C. Altimeter 29999. Kilo India Oscar Whiskey Automated Weather Observation.
Let's go ahead and tune in. Again, our destination isn't Iowa City Municipal. It is Washington, Iowa. we're going to go ahead and let them know that we're overflying.
Kilo India Oscar Whiskey traffic. Snoot Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner, 10 miles north. Overflying the airport from north to south at 2300. Kilo India Oscar Whiskey.
Let's drop that nose. We're gaining a little bit of altitude. Like I said, we don't want to. We've been sitting quite nice at 2,200. In fact, let's go ahead and adjust our flight plan. We need to add, again, gain altitude. Pitch down. Let's just pitch down quite a bit. Quit worrying about it. Level it off. Nice and easy. No harm, no foul, no trouble. KAWG is our destination. Add that to the flight plan as the arrival. So let's go ahead and use our eyes, see what we can find here on the horizon. Can you see Washington, Iowa Municipal? I can't. What about Iowa City? It looks like Iowa City Municipal is over here to the left with this series of blue lights. That's where we're going to be approaching. We're going to go ahead and announce our flyover and then continue on our departure. So if this is Iowa City Municipal, theoretically this over here should be our destination, Washington, Iowa Municipal. The flight is going overall pretty well, aside from this slightly worrisome bit of fog we're dealing with. Just while we're up here, okay, let's go ahead and give it a little bit of pitot heat, just so we don't have to worry. We're actually losing a bit of power from that, no surprise, but we're maintaining altitude good enough. We'll just trim up by 1 or 2 points. Let's go ahead and quit leaning forward so much. Readjust back to normal. Stay nice and leveled out. 2,000 feet. Anything below that is a problem. Anything above 2,300 is a problem. We're feeling nice. We're feeling comfortable. Drop that trim. 2-3 ticks. What is the trim sitting at? 3.1. That's an awful high trim. We're starting to drop below 2,000. Let's pull up on the nose and see what happens. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and zoom in on our iPad a little bit. Pitch our trim down just 1 or 2 ticks. It's sitting at about 2.9, 3.0 trim currently. We can go ahead and turn off, we meant to do this earlier, turn off our landing lights. Fuel pump is off. Okay, that's what I was hoping. We're sitting at 2,000. We need to pull up on the yoke ever so slightly so that we don't lose altitude. Originally, we're planning to fly to the right of the Iowa City Municipal, but we're actually going to cross over to the left here. So we need to go ahead and announce our position just so we don't get in any issues.
Kilo India Oscar Whiskey traffic. Snoot Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner, 4 miles north. Overflying the airport from north to south at 2,000. Kilo India Oscar Whiskey.
2,000. We're actually quite low for an overfly. We should be a lot higher. This is about pattern traffic height. Traffic pattern height. And indeed, we're dropping below. I need to focus a lot more. Let's get back up to 2,000. Right. We're not going to porpoise though. We're going to keep the nose. We're going to keep the nose tilted up. 90 knots is a comfortable speed, even though it always feels a little slow. What we're going to do is we're going to leave the trim exactly as it is, even though it's tempting to trim up. In fact, we are. We're going to trim up too, see what happens. Keep the nose pointed up just a little bit now. So now it is time to tune on into the Washington, Iowa ATIS.
Kilo India Oscar Whiskey traffic. Snoot Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner. 2 miles northeast. Overflying the airport from northeast to southwest at 2000. Kilo India Oscar Whiskey.
That down there is Iowa City Municipal. In our front right quarter panel. We don't have to worry about them. We need to go ahead and contact Washington, Iowa. Alright, let's get this stall out of the way. We're not going to be rolling like crazy. Alright, go back to our comms. This is what the co-pilot's for. Not pulling the weight. We need someone to work the comms. Get on the comms. Contact Washington, Iowa Municipal. Washington County Hospitals and Clinics is pretty close. We can contact them and get the ATIS. They don't have ATIS. Alright, let's worry about our flight, at least till we get a little closer to Washington, Iowa. This is the correct direction to go. We just need to keep piddling along in this southerly direction. Even though it may look dreary up here, the winds aren't actually that bad at all. It's quite a nice night. Again, it is rather warm. It's 35 degrees out, which might not seem that warm, but unseasonably so. Let's peek over the nose and see what we're looking at. Already a little disoriented. This should be Washington, Iowa, off in the distance. So, let's adjust our heading. 200 degrees is where we're going to want to be going. Maybe even more, 202. 20 degrees. Level off at 2,000 feet. Sit back and let the plane do its thing. Do a little bit of IFR flight here. Adjust our heading. Let's go to heading 200. There we go. We're not trying to gain too much altitude either. We'll just go ahead back so we can take a peek up over the windshield here. The flight is going overall relatively well. Let's go ahead and turn off the pitot heat. We're not too worried about freezing. At least not yet. Famous last words. We can look around. We don't see any ice to worry about. The trim is set. We need to maintain a heading of 200. There we go. It is time to start thinking of contacting Washington, Iowa. Airport's farther from me. Where is Washington Municipal? Here it is. Hello. Hello. What's on the ATIS?
Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf Automated Weather Observation, 0300 Zulu.
Winds at
141 at 6.
141.
Visibility, 10. Sky condition, 2,400 scattered, 4,700 scattered. Temperature, 1 C dew point, minus 1 C altimeter 29906. Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf Automated
If
Weather
the wind's
Observation,
out of 141, that
0300
means
Zulu.
we're gonna want to land at like 7.
141 at 6. Visibility, 10. Sky condition, 2,400 scattered, 4,700 scattered. Temperature, 1.
So we'll go ahead and tune on in. Select a runway. It's probably going to be runway 18.
Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf traffic. Snoot Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner, 19 miles northeast, 2000, inbound to land, runway 18, Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf.
Yeah, we're still 20 miles out. Just letting you know that we're coming on over. If you look, you actually can see our destination. It should be that blinking light there in the distance. So we actually have some RPMs to spare here. We're on the low end. Let's give it a little bit of throttle. We'll go ahead and give it a good another 200 RPMs. And adjust the trim as such. Because we're not trying to get carried away here. We're not trying to go up at 5,000 feet. But indeed, we are now sitting at 2,500 RPMs. And we need to watch that heading. We just keep getting blown away with the winds. The non-existent winds that are me not paying attention to my heading. Runway 18 is going to be our destination when we come into land, so let's see, where is runway 18? 36, pretty sure 18 is on the other end of 36. There it is, indeed it is. We biffed this approach so many times now. We biffed it 4 times in a row, each time a little better than the last. We're going to approach in a downwind manner. Boom, hook in the downwind. Go down, hit base, fly into final, and hopefully have a nice landing. That's the hope. Let's have a sip of the 7-Up for some good luck. Will 793, I feel good about this one. I also feel pretty good about this one. Let's see how it goes. I need to be diligent about my heading and not sipping Mountain Dew. So, let's fix that. We'll adjust our trim because we're actually still gaining altitude. It's because we throttled up. We added throttle. So after you make an adjustment, it's good to give the plane a couple seconds to react. So we'll cut 2 or 3 bits of trim, see what happens. Cut another 2 bits. We're probably going to need to zoom out a little bit here. Oh my goodness, and there was a flight that just flew by Iowa, Washington, Iowa. Need to be quite careful about who we're attempting to. Wonder if we can see him out there. It's a bit of a cloudy night. I can't see nothing. Alright, we're at 3,000 feet and gaining, so we need to drastically start making bigger changes. Trim down, quit playing around. We need to cut the throttle though, because we are approaching dangerous speeds. We do not want to go into the yellow. It's not recommended. .64% throttle. Let's go. So now we're losing altitude. We're actually going to give it a little bit more throttle. Again, we're going to keep losing altitude until we hit about 2,000. We're going rather fast at about 120 knots. Go ahead and give it even more throttle. I can really feel this. There's a little bit of turbulence out here. It's making our approach not as stable as one would hope. Let's adjust the trim, of course. We need to nose up a lot more. That's the problem. When in doubt, nose it out. Nose it up. So we're approaching Washington, Iowa. Again, we're still a good 5 to 7 miles out. Below us is Highland School, which means we should be approaching the city, state, town of Ainsworth over there. Sitting at about 2,300 feet. We're doing good. Let's go ahead and announce our position.
Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf traffic. Snoot Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner, 10 miles northeast, 2300, inbound to land, runway 18, Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf.
Our approach is looking overall decent. Oops. We have it queued about as good as it's going to look on our iPad over there. We're sitting at 2,200 feet. Our speed is manageable. Our angle of attack is about as good as it gets. Let's go ahead and maintain this heading. We're going to be chilling here for about the next 2 or 3 minutes. So at this point, I would like to ask all passengers to make sure that they have their seatbelts on. We're going to be preparing for descent. At this point, we ought to go ahead and put those landing lights on. Beacon lights on. Taxi lights off. Turn the cabin power off. The pitot heat is off. And the fuel pump is also off. Alright, we're still at 2,200. So as we get a bit closer, we'll begin bleeding off some of the speed. We're going to actually retain it so that we can go ahead and get us there in time. We're looking at about 9:15 p.m. local time. Again, we were scheduled to originally take off at 8:30. Unfortunately, we did not take off until 8:50. So we probably should have been at our destination by 9 p.m. So, we're running about 16 minutes late, give or take. Not the best of days, not the worst of days, that's for true. That's for certain, that's for true. So our destination is just over the horizon. As we're approaching, there is some fog and some overcast. Will says, we're freaking late. And yes, we are. We are quite late tonight. But the destination looms just in the horizon. And yeah, as I said, the mist here, this mist is a slightly worrisome component. Washington, Iowa sits at an elevation of about 750 feet. We are currently at about 2,000 feet, which means we're really only about 1,200 or 300 feet above the ground. Who knows how close to the ground this mist goes? It looks like it goes quite close. And while it's not that thick, it definitely could complicate our landing. It looks like the cloud is here just to the left. We've already set our altimeter so that we have accurate readings. Nice, we're on an angle of attack. We have overall stable flight. Trimmed out at 2,000 degrees, or 2,000 feet, pardon me, heading of 222 degrees. Let's go ahead and slowly begin to reel back. We'll stay trimmed up so we maintain as much of our altitude as we can. But we need to start bleeding off some of the speed as we approach the runway. We really don't need to bleed off that much speed either, but we'll go ahead and pull back. Bubbles Revs asks, do you have your PPL? No, sir, and it is fortunate that I don't, because I would not want me flying. I am, of course, as most people who play this game are, fascinated with the idea of getting one, though, huh? Maybe someday I could get off my ass and actually go and study for one. I live in Iowa. I know they have courses by the Quad Cities I've thought about. So yeah, that's quite the thought, isn't it? Someday. About 29 years old right now. So, still a little bit of time. But hey, let's focus on this landing. We're going to pull back on the throttle a little bit more. We're starting to approach the traffic pattern. Bubbles Rev says it's worth it. It's expensive, but it's worth it. That's sick. Shout out to Bubbles Revs. Look him up on YouTube. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, anyone who does have their pilot's license and actually flies, my respect. This shit is just like a simulation in a game. This probably ain't even close to what it's like. And let me tell you, this is not easy. I could not imagine actually being up there. It's like the difference of playing Grand Theft Auto and driving a car, I assume. Like driving a Nürburgring race. But alright, we're approaching the pattern here, so let's go ahead and announce ourselves. We're on the downwind for the most part. Or at least we're going to announce ourselves on the downwind.
Whiskey Golf traffic. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner is on downwind, runway 18. Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf.
Alright, we don't want to get too crazy here. Once we start approaching the back 1/3 of the runway is when we really want to start losing this altitude. Sitting here at 1,500. Let's go ahead and bleed off a little bit of throttle. See if we can enter safe flaps territory. A little more throttle, because we're going to introduce a degree of flaps here. Again, while we're doing this, we really need to trim up. We need to keep that nose high. That'll help us bleed off some more speed. Alright, at 80 knots, we can feel comfortable dropping flaps. Bubbles Rev says, there's definitely big differences from real life to the sim, but they did extremely well with this game. When I was learning full time, I used this to, and it cuts off the message, unfortunately. The PlayStation stream service sort of sucks. But yeah, I used the Microsoft Flight Sim to help train. That's absolutely amazing. I know there is some models of planes that are a lot more accurate than others, so we started to approach base far too early. We need to go ahead and get back downwind.
500.
500, yes. We are losing altitude. Again, ground level here is 800 feet. We're at 1,100. That means we are at about 500 feet. Now that we went about another block down, we can go ahead and do that 10 degree turn. Let's go ahead and introduce a second degree of flaps because we're starting to get real slow here. It's going to be an absolutely terrible approach.
Stall.
We're starting to stall, so let's give it a little bit of throttle. We don't even want to worry about this. So let's just give it the power it needs. At this point, it's probably even worth just going back around, huh? Another atrocious landing from the Snoot.
Stall.
Let's give it the power we need.
Stall. Stall.
And instead of yanking up on the yoke, we're going to go ahead and battle this stall with some trim. So we'll slowly cut the throttle as we approach. The lights say we're actually coming in hot. Cut the throttle. Let's see what the lights say.
Stall. Stall. Stall.
A very rough landing. Let's keep that nose pointed up. Hopefully we don't end up belly over. Fantastic, and honestly could not be better timing with the fog coming in. Let's get off of the runway. Get cleared for clearance. Announce ourselves. Taxi.
Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf traffic. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree
Oh, how
Niner is
embarrassing.
taxiing to runway 18.
We're actually
Kilo
taxiing
Alpha
to the
Whiskey
parking.
Golf. Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf traffic. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner is taxiing to parking. Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf.
So we actually don't have a tower here. So we're just going to go ahead and taxi to the end of the runway. Again, even though we did have an atrocious landing, that was an overall decent flight. Let's not muck it up with some bad taxi work. We'll get here in the center. We'll adjust the rudders one at a time. We'll slow things down. Take a look over at our iPad here. We should be approaching the runway. Take a look to the right. Take a look to the left. Good. Go ahead and hit the brakes here. We're going to go ahead and take a hard right. Nice. Back to the yellow line. Without the yellow line, sometimes I sort of lose my mind. Past the hold short point here, we should go ahead and announce that we are clear of the runway.
Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf traffic. Snoop Kilo Hotel Niner Tree Niner is clear of the runway. Kilo Alpha Whiskey Golf.
Here we really need to roll back the throttle because we're going to start encountering people. This is where the fuel station is. And again, look at this overcast mist and fog. Terrible night out. Glad we got home before we did. We don't need any fuel. This is the last flight of the night. Last call of the night. Thanks for flying Snoot Airlines, fellas. How embarrassing what we did to the Piper, but so fortunate that we were able to get out of there with this Cessna. We'll begin the unboarding and unloading process, so any drinks anybody has, just go ahead and bag them on up, set them to the back of the plane. Let's go ahead and cut our throttle propeller. First and foremost, we need to drop that parking brake. That's something I learned very quick. Turn that warning off just so we don't have to worry about that blinking. No more throttle. No more gas. The shutdown process is going quite smooth. We'll turn off our avionics. There go the magnetos as well, so we don't have to worry about the engine. Man, let's see. I'm sure we have cabin lights here, don't we? Doesn't that just look fantastic? It is lit up in here so well. We'll go ahead and raise the flaps back up just for the next guy so we don't have to worry about it. Nobody likes someone who leaves their flaps down. Especially if there's an ice storm. I don't believe there is one coming, but... Alright, we'll go ahead and turn off our avionics battery up here. Looks like it is just the battery and the alternator. So we'll go ahead and onboard the passengers. Again, thanks for flying with Snoot Air. We're currently in Washington, Iowa for the night. We'll go ahead and see what the next flight takes us to. It's most likely going to be Washington to Des Moines, Iowa. So, considering that we made it through tonight, flights begin tomorrow. Washington to Des Moines. Yeah, I hope everyone has a fantastic night. We'll go ahead and turn off our battery and alternator here. That's going to cut power. Will 793, nicely done. Nicely done. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for flying Snoot Air tonight. We'll go ahead and bring our iPad with us, not to worry. Parking brake on. Fuel has been cut. The trim. It's also important that we level out the trim. I knew we were forgetting something. There we go. From here, we'd go ahead and get on out. We put the pitot heat cover on. We put the chocks on. We go ahead and inspect the condition of everything. And actually, it's good that we do inspect because we had a rather rough touchdown. The condition would say that we didn't, but the reality would say that it was. The plane is looking fantastic, which is good because this is a rental plane rented from the Eastern Iowa Airport. We look forward to unlocking the Piper Dakota again in the next couple days as the Eastern Iowa Airport has it for repairs. Our next flights are going to be either in this 172 or our personal Cessna 152. Let's go ahead and hop in our ride and get on out of here. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for flying Snoot Air. Cheers, everyone.